So, good morning, friends. Today we have discussed unit number 1 for the analysis of prestressed concrete. I am Dr. Subhash Vasundhara Patankar, presently working as a professor in Department of Civil Engineering, Sanjeevani College of Engineering, Kopargaon. Now, in the today's lecture, we have discussed what are the basic concepts for the analysis of prestressing section. In the past lecture, we have already discussed the difference between the prestressed concrete and RCC, the plain concrete, then advantages and disadvantages, what are the different types of prestressing systems. Now today we have started the analysis part. Now there are basically three concepts. First concept is called as the stress concept, in which we have applied the Hooke's law. Stress is directly proportional to strain, and whatever the forces apply and their effect. For example, if we apply the prestressing force, it is axial force. That's why axial trusses are developed. Due to the moment, due to the transverse load, the beam bend. That means there is a development of the bending moment, and to resist this, we can apply the bending truss. That is the M by Z. And due to eccentric prestressing, definitely another moment is developed. That is PE divided by Z. So, this is the simple concept that will be discussed. Second concept, that is the prestressing is a combination of high strength steel with concrete, called as the strain concept, or we can say that this concept is similar to the RCC. The means of the tensioning, that is called as the, we can say that is called as the tension will be taken by the tendons, and concrete, which is above neutral axis, will take the compression. This is the second concept of the prestressing. And third concept, that is called as the load balancing concept. Whatever the external load acting on the beam, it will be balanced by the cable profile, or we can say that the trusses. Trusses should be 0. This is the three concepts. Now we will start one by one. Now first concept, that is called as the truss concept. This concept is presented by Fresnel. The tensile stress caused by external load are counterbalanced by the compressive stresses due to prestress, so that the final stresses in the extreme fiber is either compressive or 0. Second, to transfer the concrete into an elastic material. Due to application of pre-compression, we can say that our section is in elastic instead of brittle. From this concept, the criteria of no tensile stresses was born. If there are no tensile stresses in the concrete, there can be no cracks, and concrete is no longer a brittle material, it becomes a elastic material. Concrete is subjected to two systems of forces. First is the external prestressing, and second is the internal prestressing, and second is the external load which counteract each other. This is the simple concept of the prestressing. Now, there are few cases which we have discussed in this lecture. First is the first case, that is the if the tendon is concentric. This is the cross section of the beam. B is the width and capital D is the overall depth, and due to prestressing force at the center, that means at the neutral axis, we can see that direct stress, it is because of the prestressing force, that is P by A at the top as well as at the bottom. Same, it is a rectangular section, and the stress distribution is also rectangular due to the axial force, prestressing force. Second, due to external load, there is a bending moment, and moment trusses, bending trusses are there, and bending truss is equal to M by Z using the flexure formula, and that's why bending moment divided by Z. This is the another truss. Therefore, at the bottom, we can say that P by A, this is minus, that's why it is minus M by Z. This is the net resultant stress developed after application of load at the bottom, which is generally 0 or positive. And for the top one, it is increasing P by A plus M by Z, and we know that concrete is strong in compression. That's why there is no problem. This is the if the prestressing profile is concentric. Now second, if the prestressing cable is horizontal but it is eccentrical, this is the position of neutral axis, this is the position of neutral axis, and this is the eccentricity, that means the distance from the neutral axis up to the cable profile. Cable is provided or cable line is shifted below the neutral axis. So this distance is E. Therefore, the stresses distribution is again due to pre-stressing force. We can say that the P by A, which is rectangular, positive, and due to the eccentric pre-stressing, there is a moment, that is P multiplied by this distance up to the neutral axis. That's why it is PE divided by Z. That is the moment due to pre-stressing, PE divided by section modulus Z. PE by Z, of course, this is minus, and at bottom it is plus. Then plus, due to bending moment, we can say that the before application of live load, it may be due to dead load moment divided by Z. This is plus and this is minus. Then if we apply the live load, superimposed load, then stresses due to bending stresses due to the live load. That's why it is ML divided by Z, positive, and this is negative. So the resultant stress at the top fiber and bottom fiber is sigma T top fiber is equal to P by A positive minus P by Z due to the eccentric stressing plus MD by Z plus ML by Z, if we consider the total moment, total load. And at the bottom fiber, it is P by A plus ME by Z minus MD by Z minus ML by Z. So we can say that this is the formula which is used to find out the resultant stresses at the extreme fiber, top and bottom, at the mid span, at the quarter span, or we can say that at the end span. P by A minus plus P by Z plus minus MD by Z and plus minus ML by Z. This is the, if the tendon is eccentric. Third one, we can provide the tendon like this, that means it is bent at the center, eccentricity is maximum, at the support it may be 0 or some eccentricities there depending on the load. That means the inclined cable profile. In that case, it is observed that this pre-stressing force is inclined. We can find out the resultant or component of this P along the horizontal direction and along the vertical direction. At this point, it is P cos theta, and vertical it is P sin theta. As theta is very small, we can say that P cos theta is equal to P, that is the pre-stressing force, and therefore the net bending moment at this point here, if you take the component pre-stressing force in this direction and this direction, that's why it is 2P sin theta upward, and this is P cos theta and this is P cos theta, which is vanished. So this W is counteracted by this 2P sin theta. So net load at the center is equal to W minus 2P sin theta acting downward. So net moment is equal to, we can say that because of this W, because of the net W, that is W minus 2P sin theta into L divided by 4, because it is a concentrated load, and due to dead load, that means the dead load is UDL, that's why WD into L square by 8, this is the moment. So if the tendon is bent, again we can use the formula sigma is equal to P by A minus plus P by Z due to eccentricity, of course at the center, plus minus MD by Z plus minus ML by Z. Now this is due to the bend tendon. What is the benefit of this? We can, here it is observed that net bending moment is reduced because there is a application of this force from the downward side. Now bent tendon, if the cable profile is parabolic, this cable profile is parabolic and we have stretched this cable from both the side, what happens? Due to eccentricity and cable profile, it develops the UDL from the downward side, and that's why we can find out the net WC, that means this upward load, that is equal to 8 PH divided by L square. What is H? H is the total sag from the neutral axis. So 8 PH divided by L square, it will give the net UDL from the downward side and from the upward side W. So net load is equal to W minus WC, which is in the form of UDL. So sigma is equal to P by A, formula is again same, minus P by Z due to eccentricity plus minus MD by Z plus minus ML by Z. But what is the advantage? It counterbalance the UDL. due to the inclined tendon. Point load is balanced due to the parabolic cable. UDL is counterbalance. Now just we have taken one example. A prestressed concrete beam of cross section 400 mm width by 600 mm overall depth is prestressed by 1200 kilonewton force applied as shown in figure. Find the extreme stresses for the midspan section as well as the here it is not mentioned, as well as the end section if a concentrated load of 200 kilonewton is applied at the center of the span 6 meter. If cable profile is number one concentric, second one eccentric with E is equal to 0 at the support and 100 mm at the midspan, parabolic with 100 mm eccentricity at the midspan and 0 at the support. All these cases will be discussed in the same problem. Now what is the data given? Prestressing force 1200 kilonewton, L is equal to span is equal to 6 meter and cross section B by D is equal to 24 into 10 raised to the power 4. So this is the problem. Concentrated load is there, prestressing force, span is 6 meter and prestressing force is 1200 kilonewton. The first case, if the cable profile is concentric, that means the cable profile always pass through the neutral axis. So eccentricity is 0. Now here this is the diagram. This is the stress distribution due to direct load, or we can say that the prestressing force P by A. This is due to MD by Z, this is due to ML by Z, that means due to dead load, due to live load, and this is the resultant stress. Now here it is observed that we can find out the dead load is equal to 25, that is the density of RCC, multiplied by B multiplied by D cross section, we get 6 kilonewton per meter. Now the bending moment is equal to M is equal to WL by 4 due to point load plus WD L square by 8 due to UDL, that is the self weight. So we get the maximum bending moment is equal to 327 kilonewton meter. Section modulus Z is equal to BD square by 6, as it is rectangular section, it is which is 24 into 10 raised to the power 6. So stress at the section at end section, sigma is equal to P by A plus minus M by Z. This is the standard case. So P is equal to 12,000 into 10 raised to the power 3 convert into Newton, and A is equal to 24 into 10 raised to the power 4 plus minus here at the end bending moment is 0, that's why bending stress is 0, that's why sigma is equal to 5 MPa, which is plus. Therefore sigma at top is equal to plus 5 and sigma at bottom, which is also equal to 5 Newton per mm square. Now at the midspan section, again the formula is same, P by A plus minus M by Z, but what is the change? Bending moment is there. At the midspan, maximum bending moment is 327 10 raised to the 6 Newton mm. So we get the 5 plus minus 13.625. So at the top 5 plus 13.625, it is 18.625 MPa, and at the bottom 5 minus 13.625, which is minus 8.625. This is the stresses at top and bottom. Second case, we have considered the eccentric tendon. Tendon is eccentric, but it is straight. Eccentricity at the support as well as midspan is same, that is E is equal to 100 mm. Again we use the same, this is eccentricity, this is the position of the cable, and that's why again due to prestressing force it is P by A, due to eccentricity it is P by Z, this is plus and this is minus, then this is MD by Z and this is ML by Z, and we get the resultant stresses at the top as well as bottom. Now repeat the same procedure. Dead load is same, maximum bending moment is also same, section modulus is also same. Now this is the formula, P by A. What new term is introduced? That is due to eccentric profile, it is minus P by Z. So eccentricity is 100, minus plus 1200 is the prestressing force, and Z is the section modulus. At the end support, definitely moment is 0, that's why this is 0. And interesting, if we have provided the eccentric cable at the support, in the first case it is 5 MPa, in the second case it is 0. Sigma at top is 0, sigma at bottom is also 0 at the end section. Now at the midspan section, repeat the same procedure. 327 into 10 raised to 6 bending moment is there, prestressing force is same. So we get the at top it is 13. instead of 18 it is 16, that means the stresses is reduced. And at bottom, in the first case it is minus 8, here it is minus 3.625. This is due to the shifting the position of cable. Third case, bent tendon. If tendon is bent, inclined tendon, the eccentricity at the center is 100 mm, at the support it is 0, and again repeat the same procedure. Stress distribution diagram is same at the support and at the midspan. What is the effect? We can see dead load is equal to same, section modulus is same, but here due to inclined tendon tan theta, we can find out the theta, it is 1.91. Sin theta is equal to 0.033 and cos theta is equal to 0.999. That's why P cos theta is equal to nearly same, it is P, that is 1200 kilonewton. Vertical component of force P at the center, definitely it is P sin theta from one side and P sin theta from the another side, that's why it is 2P sin theta. So P sin theta is equal to 40 kilonewton. So net point load acting at the center is equal to W is equal to, W net is equal to W minus 2P sin theta. Therefore, P sin theta is equal to 40. So it is minus 18, 80, 200 minus 80, that is 120 kilonewton. Net load will be reduced. So again we use the same formula, find out the maximum bending moment, W net L by 4 and due to dead load WD L square by 8. This is same, this is different. In the first and second example we get this is 327, but here bending moment is 207. Again stress at the end, repeat the same procedure. We get the stress at the end, sigma top is equal to 5 and sigma bottom is equal to 5 because eccentricity at the end is 0. But midspan, at midspan section again repeat the same procedure, P by A plus minus M by Z, because PE by Z eccentricity, this is more very interesting. If you see the diagram we get the idea about this. Here definitely pre-stressing force, that is the P cos theta in this direction, P cos theta in this direction, that's why moment due to the eccentricity is 0. P cos theta multiplied by E in this direction, P cos theta multiplied by E in this direction, both will be, that's why the PE by Z is 0 at the midspan. So we get the stress at the midspan P by A plus minus M by Z. So we get the sigma at top, it is 3.625, it is again reduced, and sigma at bottom is also less, 3.625 with minus sign. When the parabolic tendon is there, due to parabolic tendon, again repeat the same procedure. This is very simple. Upload force, that is the upward force due to the parabolic cable profile, it is W at P, that means at the center it is 8 pH divided by L square. So UDL from the downward direction is 26.67 and upward direction is 200 kilonewton. So the net UDL is reduced, 6 minus 26 point, from the top it is only 6 kilonewton, that is the dead load, and from the bottom it is more 26. So the bending moment load is acting on the upward direction instead of the downward direction, it is 20.67. Now the bending moment is equal to, due to the point load it is same, 200 into 6 by 4 WL by 4, W net L square by 8. This is negative, load is negative, therefore bending moment is negative, 93.015. 300 minus 93.015, we get the 206.985. So again we use the same formula, P by A minus plus P by Z plus minus M by Z. At the support section, eccentricity is 0, bending moment is 0, that's why we get same 5 MPa at the top and bottom. At the midspan section, P by A, we use the same formula, but at the midspan section, even though the cable profile is parabolic, but at the midspan, what happens when we say P cos theta in this direction and this direction at the center, which is same, and that's why P by Z is 0. So we get the same 3.625 top and bottom 3.625. Now this is the stress concept. We have discussed the all these cases using the simple one formula. Then we have discussed the few more examples in the next lecture. Thank you very much.